could be in a survival situation in which you need to know and have the right equipment to survive and make sure that you do get out safely. But even without the threat of survival, you want to enjoy yourself, and if you are missing certain key items, you are going to probably have a very miserable time and decide that you will never go backpacking again. So it's important to know what goes in your pack and how to pack it correctly. Why would you want to backpack though? I mean, really, why would you want to be out in the wilderness all by yourself where a bear could come and eat you, or you could get sick and have really gross, painful diarrhea for a couple of days and have to be outdoors? Well, that's the negative side of it. But I think on the positive side of it is going out in the wilderness can be an amazing, unforgettable experience where you are away from all communication, where you're just out in the outdoors, where you have a lot of quiet and some time to think and relax, and have an adventure that's very unlike anything that we have in our modern lives. And I think that's really powerful to do that. I myself have gone backpacking many, many times. I was a Boy Scout in the U.S. for many years, going all the way up to the Eagle rank, which is the highest that you can get. I've gone on many camping trips, many backpacking trips over the years. And from my very first camping trip, when I was probably about 11 years old, and I didn't have a pack. I just had a regular backpack, much like my regular one over here that I bring every day. And I didn't have really any equipment because I didn't know what I was doing, but I went with these other guys from my Boy Scout troop and ended up having to carry my sleeping bag, 11 years old, the whole way, and my weak little backpack because I didn't have enough stuff and enough knowledge, and that was a miserable trip. So I learned the hard way that you want to pack carefully. All right. First thing that you want to be able to do is you need to have a good pack, all right? A backpack like that is not going to cut it. You want something that has multiple different pouches and pockets in which to put things, that has some kind of an internal frame. This is solid here, but it stretches a little bit because you want to be able to support yourself, because you may be hiking anywhere from 2-3 kilometers to maybe 10 or 15 kilometers in a day, all right? And you want to be comfortable because it will weigh on your body eventually. So you want to choose a pack that is the right size for you, that is comfortable for you, that you can adjust, and that you are going to fit into, and that's not going to be too big or too small. So oftentimes you will need to go to a store and ask somebody who probably has some experience doing this in an outdoor store to help fit one that is right for you. I've chosen this one. I bought this several years ago, and it has worked really well for me. What I like about it is you obviously have a very large inside here, but down below there is an opening down here in which to put a few of the heavier items, and you can actually fold this over and create kind of a barrier between the two, and so it allows you to basically divide the two sections of the cavity here. This is also nice because it has this mesh pocket on both sides in which you can actually put things and they stay in fairly easily. They don't tend to fall out, especially if you will clip them in and kind of play around with this and tie this up. So you can kind of use this for multiple purposes as well. And then it has, the pocket here, pockets on the side, and then you've got the big pouch up here that also has another mesh little small pocket in here that you can put things into. So it's compartmentalized in order for you to put things in different spots and hopefully find them rather easily. So one thing that's important in backpacking is you want to know where your stuff is. And you want to be able to get to the items that you need quickly in case an emergency situation ever did happen, all right? You don't want it to get dark and then suddenly have to find your flashlight and be throwing everything out trying to find it. That doesn't work really well. So, how do you start packing? Well, you have to think about what are the items that you're going to be bringing. If you're going backpacking, you're not only bringing the items that you need, such as clothes and toiletries, but you'll have to be bringing food and possibly water. And so you have to be thinking about that, as well as a tent, sleeping bag, sleeping pad, and anything else that you feel is essential for your comfort for however many nights you're going to be staying. There are some people who go out for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and they only have one pack, and they manage to fit everything in there, so you do have to pack very carefully. In general, you want to pack, to begin with, put some of your heavier items in the core. You don't want to put heavy items on the sides where they're going to droop and put you out of balance. This is on your back, so you want it inside you. Excuse me, you want the heavy things inside as well. So think about, what items do you not need while you are walking or hiking during the day? Well, one of the big things that you're not going to need is your sleeping bag. Some people often put a sleeping bag below the pack or above it. I myself, if I have room at all, I will put it inside at the bottom, because it makes a very effective barrier at the bottom of this pack. And mine in particular just barely squishes in, although I really do have to shove it. That's another reason to get a good quality pack, because this thing is going to be in the wilderness. It's going to be dragged on the ground. It's going to be doing all sorts of things. Sticks are going to be hitting it. You don't want something that's going to tear easily. A good pack like this from the North Face, this material is very solid, and it's not going to easily rip or tear. So, I put the sleeping bag in on the bottom. This works for me because I don't need this until the end of the day when I'm setting up my camp. And what's nice is that now, this isn't my heaviest item, but it is probably my bulkiest item, and the sleeping bag does weigh a little bit. And now I have it balanced here on the bottom evenly. And now I can start loading things up inside here. Now, oftentimes what I'll be putting inside here is a mixture of clothing, like more of the bigger items, like pants, shirts, things like that, as well as some of my food items that I'm bringing. Because again, I want to have kind of a balance. I don't want food hanging off in various places. And ultimately, unless I'm going to be snacking along the way, my food is not something I'm going to need until I probably set up camp as well. Now, it is important in the side pockets to have things such as granola bars, nuts, anything like that, so that you can access them easily, because when you're hiking all day, you will want energy now and then. But your main food supplies, especially if they tend to be a little bit heavier, you want to put inside. Now, one thing to know before you start putting your food in is, what are you going to be bringing, all right? You don't want to be bringing a ton of canned items, because cans are one of the heavier things that you can have. So if you are going to be bringing cans, pack very lightly or share with other people to bring them, because these weigh a lot and it's not going to be very helpful. And as well, think before you take a can good with you. If it has a top like this, then you're not going to have any problem. If it has a top like this and you forget your can opener, then you're going to have to wait for a bear to come by and bite it open for you, because you're not, as hard as you might with your teeth, you're not going to open this thing, all right? So be prepared that you have the right type of food that you can get into and access. I did not bring a wide variety of food. I would obviously not be bringing any of this stuff. I'm just using this for example today. I usually start off by centering these items in the middle. Box items I might put near the sides. Now, one thing to be aware of is that in your pack, things will get squished. And so you want to make sure that you're not putting something in that will get damaged or destroyed. Now, this quinoa, this grain, works because right now it's sealed up in a package. I might even just take this out, because this doesn't weigh a lot, but the less that you can have does make a difference. And ultimately, this is only useful if I want to burn it later on. But it is sometimes nice to have cardboard or paper with you, so it may be handy to bring this whole box along. It's something you have to decide. These are also helpful because if you put them up near the side, it offers more support on each end. And that can be very helpful so things can move around. Now, various things that you're putting in here, you just want to arrange. You always want to have some kind of utensil, especially if it's lightweight or wooden, because if you're cooking, you want to be able to stir, and you're not going to really be able to put your finger in boiling water. Not a good idea. So you always should have some kind of utensil that's lightweight that you can take with you, and to put in probably near your food. Things like oil can be really essential to take, but there are two problems with this. First, why are you taking a bottle that's half full where all of this space is wasted? Every little bit of space is important for my pack. I don't need this space right here. I could use for something else. Plus, unless I'm going out for a month, I don't need this much oil. All right, I only need a little bit to make do. So it's helpful to invest in either plastic or even small glass jars of something that you've had and keep and hold on to, and put things like oil or spices or anything else and make it a lot more compact. Because this, filled up with something, is a lot smaller than this. This is all I need. I need this space. So some things that you want to leave behind. Now, things such as bottled drinks. This is not alcohol, by the way. This is ginger beer, non-alcoholic. But sometimes people do want to bring alcoholic beverages with them. If you're going to do that, you don't want to be bringing a bunch of cans or bottles of beer. It just doesn't make sense if you're backpacking. For one thing, if something falls or breaks, suddenly this glass completely explodes. Not only do you have broken glass all over your pack, but you have whatever liquid was in here all over it too, and that can completely ruin a camping trip. So it's better not to bring large glass bottles when you go, and they're heavy as well. So that would stay behind. And vice versa for anything that you're going to be eating out of, because you will need some kind of utensil, something to cook in and something to eat out of.